That shark, the one everyone is afraid of, is actually the most normal shark in this video. You already know the shark at the surface. The fin, the music, the image that every beach movie, every news headline, every nature documentary spent decades burning into your brain. Because the further down you go, the less these animals look like anything that should exist. I want to take you down there. Level by level, shark by shark. Spoiler, it really doesn't get better. Let's start shallow. Relatively speaking. Somewhere between 100 and 300 meters down, there is a shark the size of a large house cat. About 50 centimeters long, completely unremarkable looking, and it has damaged nuclear submarines. This is the Cookiecutter shark. It doesn't kill its prey. It attaches itself using suction lips, rotates its body, and removes a perfect circular plug of flesh. The wound it leaves behind is round, smooth, and several centimeters deep. Like someone pressed a cookie cutter into living flesh and pulled it out cleanly. It has done this to dolphins, to tuna, to great white sharks, to whales. In the 1970s and 80s, the US Navy kept having to send submarines back to base because cookie-cutter sharks had chewed through the rubber sonar domes. Nobody knew what was causing the damage at first. They figured it out eventually. It's also been found on open water swimmers in Hawaii, bite wounds measuring up to 13 centimeters across. This thing is 50 centimeters long, and when its teeth fall out, it swallows them to recycle the calcium. Because of course it does. We're barely below the surface and already I have questions. Oh, and one more thing about the cookie cutter. It glows. The underside of the cookie cutter shark is bioluminescent. In the dark water, its belly emits a faint greenish light. Scientists believe this serves two purposes. First, it mimics the faint light filtering down from the surface, making the shark nearly invisible from below, a form of counter-illumination camouflage. Second, and this is where it gets interesting, the area around its gills doesn't glow. That dark patch may function as a lure, mimicking the silhouette of a small fish to attract larger prey. A 50-centimeter shark. That glows. That uses its own darkness as a weapon. Going deeper. Deeper now. Around 1,300 meters, the Goblin shark. I genuinely don't know where to start with this one. It has a long, flat snout lined with electroreceptors that detect the electrical fields of nearby animals. Fine. Normal enough for a deep-sea shark. And then there's the jaw. At rest, the Goblin shark's jaw sits well behind the snout, almost at throat level, which already looks wrong. But when prey gets close, that jaw launches forward out of its face at 3.1 meters per second, the fastest jaw protrusion ever recorded in any fish. Scientists filmed it for the first time in 2016 and named it slingshot feeding. Under 300 milliseconds, faster than a blink. It's also almost completely translucent. You can see the blood vessels through the skin, giving it this pinkish glow in the dark water. It looks like something that got left unfinished. It has looked like this for 125 million years. Dinosaurs were alive when this jaw was already doing that. Here's the thing about the Goblin shark, we barely know it exists. Almost every specimen ever studied was caught accidentally, pulled up in deep sea fishing nets, usually already dead or dying by the time it reached the surface. The first one wasn't formally described until 1898. In the entire history of marine biology, fewer than 50 live goblin sharks have ever been observed. In 2014, a goblin shark was filmed alive in the Gulf of Mexico, one of only a handful of footage ever captured. Scientists watching the video noticed behaviors nobody had predicted. It moved slowly, deliberately, almost lazily, until it didn't. We have no idea what its daily life actually looks like. We have no idea how it reproduces. We have found pregnant females, but never a pup. 125 million years on Earth, and we still don't really know it. Okay, going deeper. Around 1,500 meters. I need you to forget everything you think a shark looks like. The frilled shark has a long cylindrical body, a mouth at the very front of its head, and 6 pairs of gill slits fringed with red fleshy frills that circle its entire throat. When the first scientists saw it in the 1880s, they genuinely weren't sure what they were looking at. Inside the mouth, 25 rows of backward-facing trident-shaped teeth. 300 teeth total, each one curved inward. Once something goes in, it is not coming back out. It probably coils its body like a snake before striking, a hunting technique seen in no other shark. It can swallow prey half its own body length. And get this, the frilled shark has the longest pregnancy of any vertebrate on Earth. African elephants, 22 months. Frilled shark, 3.5 years. It has been doing this, basically unchanged, for at least 80 million years. We know almost nothing about how it actually lives. Every time one has been brought to the surface alive, it dies within hours. It belongs down there, still not at the bottom though. The Greenland shark looks completely harmless, slow, rounded, stocky. Moving at about 1.6 kilometers per hour, genuinely one of the slowest large predators on the planet, and it might be 500 years old. The oldest confirmed individual was estimated at 392 years, with a margin of error pushing past 500. Sexual maturity hits at around 150 years old. The one cruising through the Arctic right now was possibly alive before the Industrial Revolution. Their flesh is toxic. High concentrations of trimethylamine oxide that causes effects in humans resembling severe intoxication. There's a traditional Greenlandic dish made from it, but only after months of fermentation to break down the toxins. And almost every single Greenland shark has a parasite attached directly to its cornea. A small crustacean called Omatocoita elongata latches onto the eye and feeds on the tissue. Over time, it causes serious damage. Most Greenland sharks are functionally blind. They don't seem to care. They've been found with reindeer in their stomachs, with horses, with polar bears. Nobody is quite sure how an animal moving at 1.6 kilometers per hour catches a polar bear. Best guess is scavenging, finding carcasses floating in the water, but we don't actually know. Half-blind, toxic, parasite eating its eye, possibly 500 years old, still out there. And even this is not the deepest. At 3,675 meters below the surface, over 2 miles down, is the deepest confirmed shark on Earth. The Portugese dogfish. Small, about a meter long, dark brown, nothing remarkable about its appearance at all. It lives on the ocean floor in complete darkness, in near freezing water, under pressure that would kill almost everything else. It has been recorded in the Atlantic, the Pacific, the Indian Ocean. It seems to be everywhere at the bottom of everything. We know almost nothing about how it behaves down there. Too deep, too dark, too much pressure for most equipment without purpose-built submersibles. It just lives there, has always lived there. We'll probably keep living there long after we figure out better ways to look. So, what the ocean actually contains. A 50-centimeter shark that puts holes in nuclear submarines. A shark whose jaw fires out of its own face at 3.1 meters per second. A living fossil that looks like a sea serpent and gestates for 3.5 years. A half-blind, potentially 500-year-old predator with a parasite for an eye and toxic flesh. And at the very bottom, something dark, patient, and almost completely unknown sitting on the floor of a world we can barely reach. The shark from the movies is the beginning of the list, not the end.